Hi everyone, my name is Gabby from Hunters Hill Council and welcome everyone today to our hosted by Young in Art workshop session, which is going to be on planting sunflowers and painting all of our pots, which you should all have with you. Today, Meredith and Alison are going to be helping you with your pots. They're going to show you how to paint your pot, and they are also going to show you how to plant your sunflower seeds. So we will ask while we're recording this that everyone stays on mute. If you need to ask a question, you can unmute yourself and raise your hand. And we will get started. I will be letting some more people in as we go, so just make sure that you're aware of that. So, Alison, I think you're going to kick us off with painting, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, how exciting. Hello, everybody. We all super excited? Yes, me too. My name's Alison and I love crafting. I craft everything. I especially love sunflowers. As we can see here, I've bought my sunflower earrings specially for you, and also my sunflower mug. So I'm completely embracing the excitement of us planting these sunflowers. So what I'm going to do, can you all see my hand over here? Can you all see my hand? Thumbs up if you can see my hand. Not that hand, this hand. So I'm going to disappear my face and I'm going to just show you my hands and show you how we're going to paint on our pots. So obviously to start with, we've already got our nice yellow or orange backgrounds, and we can use all sorts of things onto this pot. So I don't know whether you've got acrylic paints or whether you've got felt tip pens or coloring pencils, who knows, but we can do all sorts of things. And do you know what? There's no right or wrong on this pot. So these are our own special creations. We can use our imagination. I'm giving you the tools to be able to start. So you've got, has everybody got a lovely template? Yep. So I thought that this would help you do some drawings on the pot. There's also, I think there was also some little flowers. So if you didn't want to use that template, you can also draw around these. Okay. So I'm going to disappear my face and I'm going to move over to, hang on, let me stop my video here. There we are. And now I'm moving over to my hands. Can everybody still hear me? Yep, awesome. Okay. So what I'm going to be using is I use these paint pens, which are acrylic pens, but they've got paint in them, and that makes things slightly less messy because I do like to get messy. But I've also got my pencils as well. So we can use all sorts of things. So it doesn't matter if what you've got doesn't look exactly the same as mine. So to start with, depending on how you're sitting, you can either put it upright like that, or you can put it on the side, because we're going to start drawing all the way around it. So you can see here that I've already started drawing around one of my flowers. So has everybody got a pencil handy? If everyone has a pencil handy, then I would decide where you're going to put your first flower. Okay, so using your template, just like that.
Sorry, your video's gone off.
Yeah, I was just wondering that too.
It's just the picture showing.
Yeah, so there's another video with my hands on it. So I've got two cameras. One is just me as a picture.
If you slide across on the
I see.
You'll see it.
Yes.
So, there we go. Otherwise, if it wasn't a picture of me watering a sunflower, it was going to be my roof. So I thought I'd.
What I might do, so it does pin properly for everybody, is your main. Have you got audio on your little camera that you're looking at there?
I can turn audio on. Hang on.
Okay. Okay, I'll turn your other one off. One sec.
Yep.
Okay, can you try speaking again?
Yep. No, I'm just going to leave my other one. Oh, all good?
All good. Can people wave if they can see properly? Yep, excellent. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our template and we're going to draw. Now, this can be as rough as you like, but what it's doing is it's doing a little bit of a plan. So what we want to do, you can do whatever you like. I can see that now. These are, like I said before, these are just prompts to go, all right, let's try this. But then you use your imagination. And the wonderful thing I love about crafting is that we can give you the tools and everybody has the same tools, yet the end result will always be different because you use your imagination and you use your skills and your choices of colors. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to carefully just do a little drawing. So you can see it's not super duper neat, but I'm deciding that that's where I want my flower to go. All right, so you can see here that I've got one flower here, and then I've done another one here. So I'm going to keep drawing that flower all the way around. So I'm going to create a bit of a pattern with this one. So I'm going to do another one here like this. So you can use the big flowers or the little flowers, or you can use something completely different if you want to. Now, if you don't want to draw using this, you can also do the same thing. If it's easier, you can do the same thing with this. Place that, hold that. Whoop. It's very difficult when they're round and wobbly. There we go. I'm going round and round. Whoop. So you can see there, I've decided that's where, and then look, we're back to the front. So I've created templates and I've decided where those are going to go. Now, I think what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put some little flowers in between it. So if you feel like adding in some little flowers, then you can do that too. I'm sure at school, your teachers say to you when you're doing work that planning is almost as important as the final piece. And sometimes plans don't go quite the way you think they're going to go, but it's always good to give it a bit of a go. All right, so I'm going to put some little flowers in there in between. And after I've done this, I'm going to start getting my paints out because I think that's what we all want to do, don't we? We want to get a little bit messy, hey? But not too messy so that parents have to tidy up too much mess. That's what I always say because I'm a mum. Whoop. So you have a look there. If you can see, I've gone all the way around and I've decided where my flowers are going to be. Now, there's different ways that you can paint your flowers on your pot. One thing as well, if you have, I'm going to show you a few different techniques of what you can do to create different patterns, even though you've got the same shaped flower. I'll show you different ways you can create patterns. What you can use as well to use with this, you can actually, if you put paint onto your onto a sponge, you can pop this down and then sponge it. Now, a little secret, I went into the kitchen and I cut up a little bit of sponge from one of the kitchen sponges. So I didn't need to get anything very special, but I just cut one of these up and then I can do that. Now I'll show you because I happen to have a little bit of white paint here. So I'm going to dip that into there and I'm going to get my template. Whoop. And using my sponge, if you can see, whoop. Now this creates, oh, I've got it on my finger, goodness, ta-da! Now, this is going to create not a perfect effect, but once it's dry, then A, it's given it a little bit of texture, if you can see, but also then you can use other color paints to go around the edges, which is something that we're going to do. All right, so there's one technique that you can use. Now I'm going to grab one of my pens. I'm going to try this one because this is a pretty color. And on here, I'm just going to paint an outline. So this is the same as using a paintbrush. And you can just paint around the edges. So that's going to create a nice standing out color. And then what I might do is make my own circle in the center of the flower. Okay, I might actually color in this center, and then I'll show you another technique of creating something that looks like a texture. So we can create dots on there to give, you know, how sometimes your centers of the flowers have a little bit of texture where the bees have been. We're going to use now you can use your paintbrush. What you can also use is the end of a pencil. If nobody minds dipping the end of a pencil into, so the flat end here, dip that into your paint and you can create fabulous little shapes. Okay, so that's something, it's using all the things that you've got around you just to create some different textures and different patterns. Now, if I get my paintbrush, which this is one I haven't used, but if I get that end and pop it into the paint, you can see that there's a nice little bit of paint on there. And then I can make little circles from the end of my paintbrush. So you don't have to have lots of special equipment to create different things. You can simply use what you've got in front of you. So you can see here that that's creating different patterns. Now I'm going to have a look at maybe making some more colors. I'm going to make my flower a bit stripy. So I'm going to use a darker color and just paint on the inside and go round again. And you can see that that's going to create a slightly different look. There we go. So I've painted around there. What I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to join all my flowers together so that they all connect, and I might draw some leaves as well using my leaf template. So I think what I might do as well is do some, maybe some little lines, look. Like this, just to, it's almost giving the flower eyelashes, isn't it? So with this particular flower, I've used the yellow background of the pot to create the color of the flower petals. But what we can do on the next one is we can color the flower in. Okay, so let's have a look at another one. Let's maybe look at one of the smaller ones and perhaps choose a nice bright color that we want to color the whole flower in. So I think I'm going to go with a pink, I think. Oh, that rhymed. And again, in the same way as if I had a paintbrush, I am going to color it in or paint it. So I'm going to get rid of the yellow completely. Okay. So paint your flower. If you can see, there we go. And now I'm even going to colour that bit in. So we've got a completely pink flower there. So it's completely coloured in and there's no yellow. And you can do that with your paintbrushes or your felt tip pens or anything that you've got, or your pencils as well. So then maybe what I'm going to do is, I think I liked these dots here. So I think I'm going to use the end of my pencil again. I should probably use the same pencil so that I don't have lots of pencils with white ends. I'm going to put paint on the end. And then I think I'm going to just dot and create a bit of a textured center like that with the end of my pencil. And ta-da, there we go. We have the center of the flower. Now what I might do is, using my paintbrush or my pens, I might then make some darker lines or maybe some spots. I do like spots all the way around here because we're using our imagination. What we're doing is we're creating flowers that might not exist. Now, you're obviously going to create a beautiful real sunflower when Meredith tells you how to pot it, but these are all from our imagination, and they might be based on ones that you've done. They might be based on ones that you've seen before or that you've painted, but then you add extra special bits. Now I'm going to do a bit of a line around here like this. Whoop. Just to make it stand out. Again, it's very difficult to paint on something that's round. Now, if you're maybe a bit shorter than me, you might be able to sit it upright, but for the purpose, obviously, of me being able to show you, this needs to be round. Whoop. There we go. How's everybody going? It feels very funny, me just talking and talking about things, which it's something I do all the time, to be honest. I talk to myself ever such a lot. But I know you're all there.
Alison, that's not unusual, Alison. That's
it's not
normal.
unusual. I love talking to myself because I get all the right answers. Is everyone having fun? Is everyone creating something beautiful? I bet you are. So, how are you going? Can I see anybody's? You show me where you're at. I can see. Oh my goodness. Oh yes. You see, I knew that there was some amazing crafters out there. Look at those. Beautiful, beautiful work. So what I'm going to show you is how I'm going to connect. So what I find is really nice is doing some kind of curved lines that might go from one flower to another. So they're like the stalk, the stem. That's the word I'm looking for, the stem of the flower. But we're going to make them curved so it kind of joins your picture all the way around. So we're going to go, so I've just done a line there to that one. And then I'm going to go round and I'm going to do another line like that. That's a bit like a rainbow. And that's going to go to there. And then this one is going to swirl, whoa, up like that to that flower. And then a little one down there to that one. Kind of creates a nice connection for each flower going round. And also then when you're looking at it, you don't know where your flowers start and where they stop. Okay, so connect it to that one. There. And then I'm going to give that a bit of colour. So once I get to it, I'm going to colour in those lines. So I'm going to go a bit traditional and I'm going to go green. All right, because that's going to stand out quite nicely on your orange and yellow pots as well. So I'm just going to, and again, use it like you would use your paintbrush. And you can see how I'm going to connect the flowers like this. There we are, just like that. There we go, all the way around. All the way to that one. Off to my blue one, like that. And there we are. Now from this, we can also add some leaves if we want to add some leaves as well. So you can see there that I've just connected all of the flowers together with their stems. Now, there we are, stay still. I'm going to get my template again and I'm going to carefully, so that I don't smudge anything, I'm going to carefully just place it on the pot like that where I want it to be. Whoop, and I'm going to draw around it. Goodness, that's exciting. Now I think I'm going to colour my leaf the same colour as the stem. So colouring it in, pretending it's a paintbrush. There we go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a darker frame. So I'm going to frame it with a slightly darker colour like this. There we are. So it stands out a bit more. There we go. Now what you can do then with the darker colour as well is do the centre of your leaf. Obviously I was impatient and you can see that my leaf colour hadn't dried. So naughty me. There we are. And then I might do some little lines, not learning that the paint isn't dry. There we go. And then so I might do lots of leaves like that all the way round, following the stem. Now, other things that you can do are, like with these dots, you can create patterns. Now, I really liked creating patterns on this ridge up here because the ridge was, it was kind of, well, it was white, so it was shouting to me saying, please paint something on me. But you can see that there's lovely little ridges in this one. So you could do things like with the end of your paintbrush or the end of your pencil, you could create dots, or you could just paint dots on there like that. But to me, that white space was definitely saying, please may I have a little bit of colour because I'm feeling a little bit plain. So even if you don't do something on all of it, or if you've got, oh dear, if you've got lots of paints and you feel like doing a complete cover, you could just paint it all one lovely block colour. That's the only negative about these paint pens, is that creating big spaces of paint is a bit more difficult. But if you've got a paintbrush and you've got lots of paint, you could do a nice contrasting colour. So yellow and purple would go really nicely together, or orange, and I love orange and pink personally. They're some of my favorite colors. And then when you've got your yellow sunflowers coming through, that would all go beautifully together. So I'm just going to keep putting these circles, these little dots, all the way around. Okay. I'm wondering if anybody else has made dots, or I think there's, do you know something else we could do as well? I've just thought about this, and especially because some of you are outside. You could actually see if you've got any leaves with your paints, and you could do some leaf prints on it to get some nice paints and textures. That's something that's quite exciting. Or what you can do as well is, whether everyone's excited about this, but you could do little thumbprints, because you can make petals out of thumbprints. How exciting is that?
I love that idea. Who doesn't
Isn't-
love sticking their thumb in paint?
Oh, yes. Sorry, parents. But yes, so even if you've got one of your templates already, I might have to use one of the big flowers because I've got big fingers, but some of you younger people might have smaller fingers. And I'm going to make quite the mess. And oh my goodness, it worked. Look at that. Everyone else want to do one of those? Look at that. I'm so excited. And that means that if you all do one of these, then your pot is completely personal because nobody else has a thumbprint like you. Look at that. Oh, and do those. Yeah, so you might need to do a smaller, one of the smaller flowers. Oh my goodness. Now I need to have a cloth. Oh dear. Hang on. There we are. There was something. Then, if you've got that, then you can paint like a little inside of it. There we go. And you might decide to do a darker edge around your thumbprint petals. Just like that. Oh, look at that.
It's such a beautiful day for planting sunflowers too.
Oh, it is. It's absolutely lovely out there. Are we ready to plant sunflowers, or are we still crafting? What's
Who's
everybody?
ready for the next stop? Who's ready for the next step? Do we want to wipe our hands down on a rag? Do the next step?
Oh, I can see one hand's up.
Yes, you're ready? Yeah.
I'm going to just, oh, hang on. I'm just going to, it's me, hi. I was just seeing if on my phone I can see everybody or whether I can just see you.
I can see Isabel and Maya and
Oh,
Stella
yes.
and Isla and oh, there's so many. They're looking terrific.
Oh, I am loving Stella and Isla. I love how you've done on what if you've done on the top of the pot.
The polka dot
Yes.
rim.
Yes.
Mhm.
There are some beautiful creations. Did anybody do thumb flowers? Were there any thumb flowers?
Now you did a sunflower. Yes, that's great. Now what we might do now is I'm going to plant mine. You don't have to plant your sunflower seeds right now, but what you do need to do is perhaps watch for a moment and explain. If you look inside this pot, can you see there's a little plastic plug in there? You're going to need to take out that plastic plug. So you just poke it from the other end and you can remove that little plastic insert. It might not have one, but just in case it did, if it had one like this, you need to just take that out so that your plant can drain. Can you get that out? You all got that out? Fantastic. All right. So once you've got that little plug out, then who's got their bag of potting mix? You should have got a lovely bag of some soil or some potting mix there as well. Yes? Yep, fantastic. All right. So just carefully keep it in the pot. And you might have a little bit left, that's okay. And what I want you to do is nearly fill the pot. So can you see mine? How the soil is nearly to the top? And then I want you to just smooth it out a little bit when you've got it nearly to the top. And tamp it down with the back of your hand or your fingers, just gently, so that you've got a nice level top. Can you do that? Yeah, have you all got up to that stage? That's fantastic. Right, so you should still have some potting mix left. And the potting mix in your pot should be down about 3 centimetres from the top of your pot. So you can see it like that. It's below the rim. So you're not overfilling it at this point. All right. And then what you'll find in your little kit is that you've got a little tiny sachet. And in the sachet, if you open it up, you'll find that there's some sunflower seeds. And if you haven't eaten them all already, you should have some sunflower seeds. You got some? Can you find your sunflower seeds? So sunflower seeds are something that birds like to eat. So when we plant them in our pot, we actually have to cover them with soil. So that's why we didn't fill our pot up straight away. So we're going to place those seeds apart from each other. If we imagine a clock, we might have one at 12 o'clock and one at 4 o'clock and one at 8 o'clock. Can you see that on mine? You've placed them apart around the outside of our imaginary clock face so that they're all equidistant. All right, now you don't need to push them down into the potting mix, because what we're going to do now is get some of our potting mix extra from the bag, and we're just going to sprinkle some more over the top so that they're covered in potting mix. And we need to bury them about 3 centimetres thick, between 2 and 3 centimetres underneath that new layer of potting mix. Now we can just press it down lightly. All right. Just press it down lightly now with our hand so that it's nice and firm, and so that those seeds are covered over, and that the top of our potting mix is just below the rim, so that when we water, the potting mix doesn't come out over the top. It's still below the rim enough to hold some water. All right. Okay. Now what you might find is after you put the soil in, that you might need to do some touching up on your paintwork, but that's okay. You've got plenty of time to still do some touching up on the paintwork. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you're going to look after sunflowers. So sunflower, the botanical name for the sunflower is Helianthus annuus. And that actually means, Helianthus means sun-loving, and anthus, the anthus part, so it's got a sun-loving face, and the annuus part means it only lasts a year. So it's an annual. So this plant's only going to last us about 6 months, 8 months or months. So don't worry if it dies eventually. That's not you killing it. That's just the life cycle of the sunflower. All right. You can plant something else in the pot over winter. But sunflowers, like the name suggests, love sun. So you've got to find somewhere for your sunflowers that gets lots of sun. And the other thing that's really unusual about sunflowers is that they actually track the sun. So as they grow, when they start to flower, the actual flower itself turns and tracks the sun. So the other unusual thing about sunflowers is as they form a whole cluster of seeds in the middle, those seeds are used for making oil, and they're also used for eating, just as a lovely sort of like a nut and a seed. But the other thing you can do if you want to is you can trace into that sunflower, and you might want to put a smiley face into your sunflower once it's got the seeds on it. And then it will actually grow with a big, happy, smiley face as well. So that's pretty special the way it does that as well. So I would say the next step for you normally is to water your sunflower seeds, but because you've got wet paint on your pot, we're not going to do that maybe straight away because it might make the flowers run. So maybe wait half an hour until the sun has touch dried the paint on your pot before you water it. So wait, you can keep on going. Yes, Stella and Isla, do you have something to say?
What's your question, baby?
We can't put ours outside in our back garden because we're getting a pool.
Baby, Stella had a question.
Oh, you only need a little spot though. So it just needs to find somewhere in the sun. They don't really grow inside. It's got to be somewhere outside in the sun. So if you've got nowhere for it yourself, or a balcony or something like that, maybe you've got a grandparent you could lend it to and they could look after it for you, or maybe a next door neighbour that you could give it to. So that's what I would do. But they do need to have lots of sunshine. All right, so they should start to germinate, which means the seeds should start to sprout within about 2 weeks. But for that to happen, you have to keep them really regularly watered. You have to water them every day if it's in a windy spot, and every other day if it's just in a normal sunshiny spot. And the other thing...
So I was going to say, it looks like Stella and Isla have a question too. Sorry, Mary.
Oh, sorry, Stella, yes.
How does the sunflower catch the sun?
Well, it's actually got a special thing in it. It's got a special chemical, and the chemical, it's called, the effect is called heliotropic, and it actually means it just tracks the sun. So it knows where the sun is because it can feel the rays and the warmth on the flower that's developed, and it actually turns. The whole flower turns to wherever the sun is. So when it rises in the east in the morning, the flower is facing that way. And as the sun tracks across the sky and sets in the west, the flower will turn and follow the sun. It's pretty clever. There's not very many plants that do that. So sunflowers are really special the way they do that.
It's a really fun thing because we've got some growing at the moment, and it's a really fun thing, especially when we're home a lot at the moment, to watch them. So once they grow, I bet when we're back at school, I bet if you look at it before you go to school, it will be pointing one way, and then by the time you come home, it will be somewhere different, because that's what's happening to ours, and it's super fun to watch.
So it should take about 2 weeks before you start to see your little seedling come up, and make sure you don't have it the other thing you've got to be careful not to do is you've got to make sure that you don't put a saucer underneath, because they really like to drain got to be free draining. So keep that hole if you can, even slightly up off the ground by putting some little pebbles underneath it. But definitely make sure it drains without having a saucer of water underneath it.
Thank you, Meredith, for telling me everything that I've been doing wrong. And I'm apparently only good with the fake sunflowers. So excellent. So myself and the kids can all kind of grow sunflowers well.
That's right. And I hope that you're all going to send us pictures of your sunflowers so that we can see how they're growing. That would be lovely to see. And tell me if you're going to put faces on them. Who likes the idea of drawing a face? Yeah, it's pretty
It really
exciting.
works. We've done that, and it's absolutely fascinating that it stays like it. You can create, and if you can do it, and if they're facing the street, then when people walk past, it's a real surprise for them because they see a big sunflower smiling at them.
Fabulous. And we also like to see photos of everyone's pots as well. So you can get your parents to send us the photos, and that would be brilliant because from what I can see, everyone's doing some fabulous work on all of their pots.
And who's going to eat some of the sunflower seeds when they ripen? Anyone going to try some of the seeds? They're really delicious. All right. And if you don't like them, don't you worry, the birds will eat them. They love them.
Yes, and the rabbits.
Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed it.
Has everyone had fun? I can't see everybody's faces on my phone, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love that.
And it's a great sunny day to be painting sunflowers, even if you're doing it inside. It's going to be bring a bit of sunshine inside too for the moment, and then people can put their pots outside.
And if anyone's wondering too, you can leave them inside until they start to germinate. Once the seeds have started to germinate though, then you need to take them outside.
It's fabulous.
So many handy tips.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So thank you so much, Meredith and Alison, for showing us how to paint our pots and how to plant our sunflower seeds. And I hope everyone's had a fun time. And this is part of Young in Art. So you may have some of your artwork up on our website. So if your parents go to huntershill.nsw.gov.au/art, there's a link there to take you to the online gallery for Young in Art. And so you can see all the kids of the area's fabulous artwork. And it's really, really fun and really interesting. So that would be good. So we love our young artists in the area. It's so much fun. So thank you everybody for joining in, and I will send everyone the link to this video so you can paint other pots that you've got, and you can learn how to make your garden pretty and full of sunflowers and all different types of sunflowers.
I think that Stella and Isla may have a question.
Another question?
I can
Excellent.
see some super arms going up.
I already got my water.
Oh, you guys.
Awesome.
Well, maybe wash your hands in some of the water first.
And maybe don't pour the water on the bench. It's going to go through onto the bench.
I did the Monster Mumbles in the Young and Arts.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right.
I'm just fixing some, there might be some photos of artwork that didn't go up yet. I'm just putting them up this morning. So,
thank you.
So excellent. Just make sure you don't water your plant while it's sitting on your kitchen bench and all the water goes through. I don't think your parents will be happy. So I'm going to finish recording this, and thank you so much for everyone for coming along. And we hope you have a fabulous rest of the weekend and enjoy all your sunflowers. So bye everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Leave, Mom. Press leave.